Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, we are so happy to have you. My name is Stephanie. I'm a registered dietitian and sport nutritionist. In this channel, we talk about sport nutrition and how we can use food to affect our performance. If that interests you, press that subscribe button and let me know in the comments below what you'd like to see. Today I want to take you through what my thought process is in making or creating my trail mix. So we're going to go through some of the ingredients and why some of those ingredients are actually going to be beneficial for you as athletes. One of the great things about a trail mix is that the nuts and seeds are very densely packed with energy and especially fat. So if you are struggling to eat extra meals throughout the day, this is a really great way to not add a lot of extra volume, but a lot of extra nutrition for a small amount of food. Your first ingredient that must be in your trail mix is going to be Pepitas, or you can also find these as pumpkin seeds in the grocery store. So these guys are actually really helpful in terms of being almost like a base for your trail mix. About a quarter cup of these is going to have almost 17 grams of protein, which is a really great high source in terms of the amount of protein that you get from a nut or seed. So that way, if you're trying to have a snack that is both high in protein and also high in energy, this is the base that you want to start with. Not only are they a great source of protein, but they also have a great amount of magnesium in them. A quarter cup of pumpkin seeds is going to give you almost 300 milligrams of magnesium, which is for a female 100% of your daily needs of magnesium. Magnesium is really beneficial for athletes, especially if you're struggling with sleep. So if you're having this as an evening snack with a little bit of extra protein, these high sources of magnesium can actually help you sleep a little bit better. Not only is the magnesium going to be helpful for your sleep, but also it's going to be helpful for your immune system. And also they've shown that supplementing with magnesium is actually going to be helpful in terms of the muscle damage that we see after training. Number 2 on your list should be walnuts. So these guys are a really great source of plant-based omega-3s. So we call that type of fat alpha-linolenic acid. Unfortunately, only about 5 to 20% of that type of fat from the plant is going to be transformed into that active anti-inflammatory fat EPA, DHA, omega-3s in the body, which is the active form of omega-3. So it's not the best source of omega-3, but if you are a vegetarian or vegan, it's definitely important, I think, to be including some of these things in your diet for those properties, even if it's going to change only a small percentage of the EPA and DHA. A really interesting side note is that the only way you can get EPA and DHA types of fats as a vegan or vegetarian athlete is actually going to be through algae. So if you are looking to have some more omega-3s in your diet, having a supplement from algae would be the best bet for you. Next up is cashews. So I've got just a little baggie of these guys here. You cannot see them, but that's okay. So the cashews are actually going to be a little bit higher in iron than the other types of nuts that I have. So unfortunately, again, the same as the plant omega-3, the iron in the plant sources do not get transformed as well as some of those heme iron that we get from meat sources. So pairing this with some sort of a vitamin C, so maybe that's some fruit that we're going to be adding to our mixture, is going to be really helpful to help absorb some of that iron. Next up is almonds. So I've got them here. These guys are not particularly high in anything specific, but all of these nuts and seeds tend to be high in vitamin E, which is an antioxidant, which is going to be helpful for you to reduce that oxidative stress from intense exercise and training. So that's one benefit of the almonds. Not only are they high in vitamin E, but they also have a little bit of calcium in them. So calcium, of course, is needed for strong bones and teeth, but also for proper nerve transmission as well. So making sure that we get enough calcium in the day is important. It's not going to be a huge source, but it definitely will add to your daily intake of calcium. Next up is peanuts. So I like to include these because it's a less expensive type of nut that can fill in a little bit of the volume for you, but also they do have some nutrition benefit as well. I don't love to have a majority of my trail mix being these types of nuts because the peanuts tend to be a little bit higher in the saturated fat, which we do need in the diet, but in the Western diet, it tends to be pretty high, so I try and limit the amount that I have in my trail mix. With that being said, some of the nutrition benefits that we can get out of the peanuts would include niacin, which is a B vitamin, and when niacin is limited in the diet, which usually is not if we're eating adequate amounts of grains and starches, but if it is low, that means that our co-founder NAD in the Krebs cycle, which if you are a science person, you will know what that is. But basically, when we break down carbs or fats using oxygen in the Krebs cycle, we are going to need NAD as a component of that cycle. So if that's low, we definitely see a little bit of a reduction in the efficiency of our mitochondria and our Krebs cycle to produce energy for exercise. The peanuts also have folate and selenium, which are also going to be really important for our overall diet. So now we get to the fun part of adding different flavors to our trail mix. So sometimes it can be really boring, and personally I don't really like nuts and seeds enough to have just a trail mix of nuts and seeds. So I mix it up by adding some different types of fruits and potentially something sweet to that trail mix to make it more exciting. This time I chose to get some dried cherries to add, so I just got a small amount, but these guys are actually the tart cherries, which are called Montmorency cherries, and so these have been more recently studied for athletes for a few different reasons. They tend to help with inflammation, help reduce the oxidative stress of exercise, help recover a little bit better, make you feel less sore the next day, and also they're naturally higher in melatonin. So actually these types of cherries can actually be helpful for getting better quality of sleep. So if you are struggling with sleep, having the mixture of the cherries with the pumpkin seeds right before you go to bed or within kind of 30 minutes before you go to bed could be a way to help your body be able to sleep a little bit better. Not only are the cherries helpful for all of those different reasons, but also they contain what we call polyphenolic compounds. So these are found in darkly colored fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, cocoa, coffee, tea, foods like that. And even though they might not necessarily be essential for our body's function, we definitely see that they have huge impacts on the longevity of our lifespan and also how our body functions. So they've shown that things like blueberries, for example, can help with cognition, and things like apples or citrus fruits or cocoa can be helpful in terms of cardiovascular health as well, so blood pressure regulation, and also in terms of your blood lipid profiles as well. So not only are we thinking about how does food affect our performance, but also how do we make sure that we're getting enough nutrients and good quality foods to make sure that we are living a healthy and long life. If you're looking to boost some of those components of the polyphenolic compounds within your trail mix, that's kind of a goal of yours, we can add things like dried blueberries, dark chocolate, which I also have. I mean, the main reason to add or include this is because it's going to make it taste really delicious, but it is another way to get some of those compounds in there if it's kind of like 70 to 80% dark chocolate. Currants, pecans, or hazelnuts would also be really great to add to your trail mix for that reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pile all of these into a bowl, mix them together, and then put them into different containers as well so that I can just take them and go. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!